Hello everybody, this is Dr. Ep8a. Making a quick correction to my previous video as I was looking up some of the rules. I just wanted to make an amendment to my episode. We drew the Bloodline, but actually I don't think those should be in the deck, and the reason is it's part of the Dragon King expansion. And it does say there are two ways to play. You can actually play the People of the Stars campaign or the core, and we're playing the core, so we have to add to our campaign. And basically it goes through and says all these things. The People of the Stars campaign is a totally different, well, somewhat different timeline. And one of the things it does is it, in the innovations section, it does add different innovations, remove language, lantern oven, family, and clan death, and it's replaced by these other ones as well. And family is, I thought Bloodlines sound very familiar, and it is related to the family one. But Bloodlines, this is what we drew last time when I chose my innovations. And Bloodlines should not be in here because these are specific to, these four are actually specific to that deck. And you can see what I mean by the family is the Bloodline there. The Empire is what gives you that pristine thing that's related to Bloodlines. The radiating orb relates to the heat that the lantern oven creates. So it's they offset each other. So you're supposed to remove these from the deck. And languages replaces this dragon speech. So these should not be in this game. So I'll put them up here for now. And I chose that because it was pretty awesome, pretty powerful. But now I realize that you don't get those iridescent hides, pristine abilities unless you inherit them from your parents. But you're not going to really get those unless you're doing that timeline for the People of the Stars campaign anyway. So since I took those out of the decks now, I do have another pull here. And that card should have been pulled last time as part of the four. So let's see what I would have gotten. I would have gotten Shadow Dancing. So out of these four, Memento, Shrine, Drums, or Shadow Dancing, I should have picked one of those instead. Now I have gone down here and fixed our people. So for example, I did leave them with their names, Words and Lee, but I took off their special ability. I'm going to leave them here. But this time I'm actually going to change the name to Words. He does not have a sword proficiency. And I took off his proficiencies completely. So he's still Agathon's kid, and his name is Words. And Lee here is right now just his first name. So maybe someday he'll actually be a family member. But for now, there he is. Okay, so I have fixed those guys for now. And we have to pick between these. So what I have to pick is the Survivor, and I mentioned before that it's nice if somebody dies, but our witch is gonna, you know, the Bone Witch thing that we had before is gonna eat them, the Bone Whisperer. So we have to choose between Drums, Shadow Dancing, or Shrine, and Memento. The Shadow Dancing is the one I drew. You may only endeavor here if a survivor died during the last hunt or showdown. And then you can dance with your shadow, gain +3 insanity and a random fighting art, or 6+. The shadows are in your mind. You realize how easy it is to dupe someone. You gain the sneak attack fighting art, which is pretty nice. We can roll do final dance once per year. The random fighting arts are always good, and the sneak attack, if I recall, is pretty nice if you're hitting in the blind spot. When you attack a monster with a blind spot, you gain +4 to the strength, so that is pretty nice. But again, these are dependent on death, these two. And yes, people do die, but our goal is kind of not to let people die. But it does happen, so we don't really have anything we can endeavor at, unfortunately, here. So if we're going to endeavor at something, we would like something we can endeavor at every time. And Armor Ritual is good because it gives all our departing survivors a little bit of protection of insanity, especially the new ones that don't have anything. And Bone Beats here is good too because Drums give us the chance to do the gain survival or insanity. We choose one, and we could spend multiple times here. We can gain Rhythm Chaser or the Synchronized Fighting Art. Also, it does allow us to build the drums right here, the rawhide drums with a bone and a hide. And those drums, on arrival, all survivors gain +1 insanity. And when you perform Encourage, all non-death survivors are affected. So you only need to encourage once and everybody gets up. And that's pretty nice. So, and it works with Rhythm Dancer. Rhythm Chaser allows you to have evasion on arrival, and if you have an instrument in your gear grid, if you don't, you remove all your tokens when you get knocked down. And the other thing that you could endeavor to get is Synchronized Strike, which means you could go on the opposite side of the monster and use your Synchronized Strike. Whoops, and let's see. Yep. Am I not spelling it right? No, maybe it's a secret fighting art. There it is. Okay. Yeah, so it shows here when you're opposite to attack with a melee weapon, and they also, the person on the opposite side has it, and you can do it as attack assist where you get +1 accuracy, +1 strength. It's limited once per round, so you can't surge and do it again. But the person across from you has to have it, and they have to be on the opposite side. But that +1 accuracy is similar to being the blind spot, so that's pretty powerful. So the question is, should we go with armor, which is nice early on, or should we go with drums, which would allow us to choose if we, the single person can gain insanity, or get some fighting arts, in fact, if they want. So it's a tough choice. I think I'm going to pass on Shadow Dancing and the Memento, although the Memento is pretty nice because you can gain some of their memories and things and their hunt XP. This one is a random roll. It's a pretty good chance to get that. There's also the consequence decks that are involved. I think we're going to do drums since we have a little more control over where it goes, and we can endeavor more than once there. So this one is only once that you can do per settlement phase. So we're going to go ahead and take drums and the drum consequences. We'll get the Forbidden Dance and Song of the Brave. We need a little bit of music in our lives. Okay, so there we have that. Okay, and that is what I've changed. So now instead we now have drums to endeavor at in the future. Okay, we cannot build the drums just yet since we need hide and a bone. We have plenty of bone, we just don't have any hide, so we're not going to be building that this time. All right, thanks for the sticking with me for the little bit of correction. Sorry for the confusion there. Make sure if you do play with the Dragon King that you do remove these 4 cards right here, because I guess you could try to fit them in. The Pristine Ability, for example, if you wanted to try to get that in, that might be okay, but they might be a little bit overpowered. And if you do run with these, they do need to replace those other cards. It does say that in the Dragon King manual there. All right, thanks for joining. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.